So which is tougher? To have a complete stranger yell things at you, or your best friend? Which is harder? To have a complete stranger say unkind things about you, call you names, laugh at you, make fun of you, or a person that you've known all your life? Which one's harder? Probably the second one, right? One of the most painful experiences of Jesus was not the nails, was not the crown of thorns, but it was being betrayed by his best friends. People that he gave his heart to, that he trusted, that he laughed with, that he cried with. And yet, we hear about two of them today, Judas and Peter. And both in their own way betrayed him. That's what hurt his heart more than anything else. And there's that phrase that people say, but it's not a very true phrase. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We know that that's false, because we can get physically hurt, and that'll heal. But when we're hurt by someone that we love or someone that we trusted, someone who we thought was a friend, and we're hurt with words, we're hurt with laughter and ridicule, that can sometimes stay for a long, long time. And so we have to always watch our words, watch how we treat others, especially our classmates, our siblings, our family members, our friends. And if you've ever been hurt in that way before, and I bet every single person here in some way has felt that experience of being betrayed, of thinking that someone had their best intentions in mind and then they found out that they were being made fun of. Well, Jesus felt that. He knew that. And it hurt his heart. And so he's willing to cry with you in those moments. When you feel maybe alone and maybe hurt and maybe pushed aside or left out, Jesus is saying to you today, I'm here. I know what that feels like. And I actually went into that and allowed myself this experience in order to always be with you in your hurts. So that's something that the Lord wants us to know today. But also the Lord wants to remind us that when we sin, we are like Peter and like Judas. And sometimes we might say, Lord, I'm never going to be like that person. But maybe when you get into a difficult moment, like Peter, you end up denying him. Not just once, but 3 times. Think about how Peter must have felt when Jesus said these words, will you lay down your life for me? Actually, before the rooster is going to crow, you're going to deny me not just 1 time, but 3 times. 1 time you could see as, maybe just a weakness or an accident or so, but 3 times is a big fall. Do you think Peter thought that Jesus was telling the truth at that moment? Maybe he might have said, but Lord, you don't understand. I'm always going to be here for you. And then what did Peter feel like when he heard that rooster? And he realized that he denied Jesus 3 times. And there's something really important about that moment. Jesus is actually walking by. Sometimes we think that that happens and he's like way over here. But it says that when Peter heard that rooster crow, it says at that moment Jesus turned and looked at Peter, who was right over there by the campfire. And what was that look like? It was one of sadness. It was one of feeling hurt, feeling rejected. That's what Jesus felt. But it also was one of compassion. It wasn't one of anger. It wasn't one of, I'm going to get you back. But it was one of such love. And he looked at Peter with all of his bruises, looking at Peter in the corner. And with his eyes, he still said, I'm still here for you. I know you rejected me. I know your faith fell. But when you come back, you're going to be able to help strengthen your brothers. That's what it says in the Bible. And Peter, by seeing that gaze from the Lord, that gave him strength to come back. The sad thing about Judas is Judas closed his eyes. He didn't want to receive that look. But Peter wore his heart on his shoulder. Sometimes that got him into trouble. He just sort of said whatever was there. But because of that, he kept his eyes open, even though he recognized that he fell, that he made a mistake, that he hurt the one that he loved. And yet Jesus gave him one of the most beautiful gifts in that moment. Jesus could have easily said, you're done. You're nothing to me. You betrayed me 3 times. And now I'm going to find someone else to be the rock. But Jesus didn't do that. He looked at Peter and he said, I'm still here for you. I know you broke my heart, but I love you still. And when Peter saw that, it said he wept bitterly. But because he didn't experience the vengeance of Jesus, he experienced this broken heart that never stopped loving Peter. He recognized how much he was loved by God. And even though he ran away and said, in shame, look what I've done, he did come back because he knew that Jesus was there for him. And that's what happens in confession. Maybe you've had this experience, maybe you haven't, but all of us at some point in life will have this experience in which we really do something really hurtful. You know, it's not just I stole that chocolate there, but we really break someone's heart. We really betray someone. We really hurt God. And there will be a moment in which you might say to yourself, I can't go back to confession. I can't go back to God's mercy because I'm done. And Jesus today wants to look at you and say, you're never done. I looked at Peter and loved him, and you can always come back to me. As you grow in your Catholic education, if you can hold on to one thing, especially you guys that are getting ready to graduate in just a month, remember this. Jesus always looks at you with profound love. He never stops that gaze. And no matter what happens in life, no matter what mistakes that we've made, Jesus looks at you like he looked at Peter. And he says, don't close your eyes. Always know that I'm here for you. And you can always come back to me, no matter what.